Elias lived with failure. It clung to him, a shroud of mistakes and missed opportunities. Each day was a struggle, a constant reminder of his shortcomings. He yearned for a change, a beacon in his bleak existence. His life was an empty canvas, a canvas he desperately wanted to fill with vibrant colors. Yet he remained paralyzed, frozen by his fear of failure. He wandered through life like a ghost, unseen, unheard.
One dreary afternoon, while rummaging through my attic, I stumbled upon a chest tucked away in a forgotten corner. I knelt, my fingers tracing the intricate carvings on its surface. It seemed to hum with a strange energy, beckoning me closer.
He pried open the chest. Inside, nestled in faded velvet, lay a mask. It was beautiful and terrifying, crafted from polished obsidian and etched with silver. A shiver ran down his spine as he reached out to touch it. The air grew thick with the whispers of a forgotten legend, the legend of a mask capable of granting any desire. But the whispers spoke of a price, a steep price paid in ways unimaginable.
Driven by a thirst for change, I sought out the one person who might know the truth. Old Matilda, living as a recluse on the edge of town, was said to hold ancient knowledge. Her eyes, when she opened them to acknowledge me, held the wisdom of ages.
Matilda confirmed the legend. The mask held power, but power always demanded a price. Her warning echoed in his ears, yet the allure of the mask had already taken root in his heart. He desired its power, blinded by his desperation. That night he held the mask in his trembling hands. It felt cold against his skin, yet a strange heat emanated from within. It pulsed with an energy that both terrified and enticed him. He closed his eyes and willed his deepest desire.
The world dissolved in a blinding flash. When I opened my eyes, I was met with my reflection. Gone was the image of failure and self-doubt. In its place stood a vision of my ideal self, confident and powerful.
His life was transformed. Success came effortlessly. He was admired, envied. The world that had once shunned him now embraced him with open arms. Elias reveled in his newfound glory, believing he had cheated fate. However, a shadow lurked beneath the surface of his triumph. He noticed a change in his reflection, a subtle shift in the eyes that stared back at him. They seemed colder, more predatory. The whispers in the wind returned, louder now, filled with warnings.
I tried to ignore the changes, but they grew more difficult to dismiss. My dreams became haunted by distorted faces, their pleas for help turning into accusing screams. I started to see the truth lurking beneath the mask's seductive illusion.
The mask had become a part of him, its power seeping into his very being.
It fed on my deepest insecurities, twisting my desires to serve its own purpose.
He was no longer in control, a puppet dancing to the mask's sinister tune.
Desperation clawed at me. I ripped at the mask, but it wouldn't budge.
It was as if it had melted into his skin, its essence woven into his bones.
My reflection mocked me, a stranger trapped beneath the surface.
Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through his newfound confidence.
I was a prisoner in my own body, my spirit held captive by the mask's insidious magic.
He needed to break free, but how could he fight something that had become a part of him? He remembered Matilda's warning, her words heavy with foreboding.
He had to find her, seek her guidance.
With a heart filled with dread, he embarked on a desperate pilgrimage back to her secluded cottage. The journey was a blur of fear and urgency. Each step was heavier than the last, weighed down by the mask's growing influence. He clung to the fading hope that Matilda might hold the key to his salvation.
He arrived at the clearing, his breath ragged, his body trembling. The cottage stood before him, cloaked in an unsettling silence. He called out for Matilda, his voice hoarse with desperation.
But only silence met his plea. He was alone. The realization hit him with the force of a physical blow. He had sought power, and in his pursuit he had condemned himself. The mask pulsed against his skin, a constant reminder of his folly. He looked at his reflection in a nearby stream. The creature that stared back at him bore little resemblance to the man he once was.
Could he even be called human anymore?
The weight of his choices pressed down on him, suffocating him. He could succumb to the mask's influence, embrace the monstrous power it offered, or he could fight, even if it meant facing unimaginable consequences. The choice tore at him, a battle between his fading humanity and the seductive allure of darkness. He stumbled to the stream's edge, his hands trembling. Picking up a sharp rock, he held it before his reflection, the cold, jagged edge mirroring the turmoil within him. His heart pounded against his ribs, a drumbeat of fear and desperation. With a surge of raw determination, he slammed the rock against the reflection.
The world fractured into a kaleidoscope of light and pain.
He screamed, the sound echoing through the empty clearing as the mask fought back, desperate to maintain its hold. He didn't stop. He continued to strike, each blow fueled by regret and a flicker of hope. The stream ran red, a testament to his desperate struggle. Then silence descended, heavy and absolute. He lay gasping, his body racked with pain. As his vision cleared, he saw fragments of the mask scattered around him, their obsidian surfaces dull and lifeless.
He was free, or was he?
As he looked down at his reflection in the water, he saw a flicker of something dark in the depths of his eyes. It vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving him with a chilling echo of doubt. He had destroyed the mask, but at what cost? Had he truly purged its darkness, or had it simply seeped deeper, an inseparable part of him? He rose, his body heavy, and turned away from the shattered reflection. Only time would tell the true price of his transformation.